Hello, everybody listening to the Fair Weather Podcast. Boy 2K Suave. I'm here with Alex Rodriguez. We're back, better than ever. Took a little week off, but the NBA Finals is over. The NHL Stanley Cup Finals is in full swing. We're how far are we into the baseball season? We're not halfway, are we?
No, not yet.
Not yet. We're getting close to that halfway part of the MLB season, but outside of that, it's about to get quiet. It's about to get
Yeah.
real quiet in sports. But what's going on?
Nothing much, man. So we're gonna probably take a little hiatus for a little bit. This will be the end of season 2.
Season 3.
Oh shit, we're on 3 already. My lord.
Yeah, well, hold up. Yeah, we're about to finish season 3.
Is it 3 or 2?
We're about to finish season 3.
Okay. For some reason, I always think it's
What? Because this is episode 70, right?
yeah. You're right.
1 through 25 is 1, 25 to 50 was 2, and then 50 to 70 was 3.
You're right.
Hey, 3 seasons.
Got to keep me on my toes.
Yep.
So yeah, we're gonna take a little break. Just gonna be baseball, and I don't think everybody wants to hear about baseball. But if something intriguing pops up, of course, KK and I'll get on the mic and spit that hot shit for you because that's what we like to do. But
we should go. We might even go live this summer. Who knows? It's hot boy summer, right? So we might go live.
Don't fuck around. We might do it. We might just do it. So yeah, episode 70. Obviously the NBA finals are done. We have a victorious winner in the Golden State Warriors, who I said I don't care, but I was a closet Warriors fan the entire time.
At least you admit it. Because a lot of people won't admit it, but a lot of people are closet Warrior fans too.
I'm more of a fan of the way that they play the game. I'm no way, shape, or form a Warriors fan, and just in this instance, I had to go for them. So we're always going to have open dialogue on the NBA Finals, open conversation. So we're obviously listening to a Wednesday recorded episode the day before the draft. We're going to give our draft insights coming up about who's going to go one, the possible move-ups, possible trades that could happen. We'll also tie free agency into this. Jeremy Grant has been traded today, so we'll break down the one. And obviously, Christian Wood was moved before it all, so some pieces have fallen for some teams, but some other teams are looking to make some splashes and some other big names out there. So we'll discuss that. Gronk, is he retired? Is he not? This is Tampa. It's hot as shit. Probably doesn't want to practice.
Gronk.
Thumbs will probably come through. So we'll discuss the life of Gronk in the NFL and where he ranks amongst those tight ends. And then for the fun segment, we're not going to really rattle down them. We're just going to talk about an intriguing sports topic. KK kind of like spit it to me the way, if you ever watch Around the Horn, whenever they win their segment, they kind of have their moment of fame and glory and talk about what they want to talk about. So KK's got something to talk about. I got something I want to talk about. So we'll talk about at the end for our fun segment. So let's kick it off. The NBA Finals are officially done. The Warriors win 4-2 against the Boston Celtics. You got to tip your hats to the Warriors. Everybody kept wanting to put them not in the bid to win this, saying that Boston has the more talented team.
Not everybody. No. Golden State was a heavy favorite going into this one. So
they were, but once the finals came around, I kept listening to the talking heads all over sports media, not just ESPN. A lot of other people were saying Boston has a way talented team. They're younger. The Warriors, we even said it. We had people on here saying it. They've never seen a defense like the Boston Celtics. And it should have been. I mean, in my opinion, it was a good finals. Of course, we wanted 7 games out of it, but not having LeBron James in the finals is, I think, in our opinion, is kind of boring. We're used to seeing greatness challenged and the greatness of LeBron James
we take his little run for granted, honestly. Like the fact that a man made it to 8 straight NBA finals on 2 different basketball teams, and then a couple years later went to another NBA finals and won another championship. We really do take his greatness for granted, but I digress. Continue.
Yeah. So the Golden State Warriors come out victorious. This is ring number 4 for Steph, right?
Mm-hmm.
4. So Steph is doing big things, man. He's finally got his finals MVP. Debatable. Andrew Wiggins had a hell of a series too.
There was no way they're going to give it to anybody but Steph.
There wasn't, and I'm okay with that. Steph played his part, but I think to lock up Tatum and to make Tatum come down to earth, you got to see Andrew Wiggins play his part, and we have to give the man flowers. I'm sorry, we poo-pooed on him a lot. We say he ain't shit. We say, you got rid of Kevin Durant for this. Well, they won a championship with it, and it paid off. Obviously, I'm not comparing him and his talents to Kevin Durant, but what he was able to do and to lock up a guy that I had officially in my top 5, who is now back out of my top 5.
Over one playoff series?
Hey, man.
Yo, the thing about basketball, I swear, especially during the playoffs, everyone has takes that change every 3 seconds.
They do, but
he is a top 5 talent. He had a bad series.
He is a top 5 talent. I'm not saying he's not. He's just out of mind after what I saw. I did not see a killer instinct. This is the finals, okay? You can do it game 1. You can do it game or series 1, 2, 3. That's fine. But the finals, I didn't see it. His first game, he had 12 points and a lot of assists. That's cool and all. You switched it up a little bit, but your name wasn't made a point in your name wasn't felt in the finals. And the one guy that Townie was saying the entire time, Al Horford, and I was agreeing on, was going to be that guy to step it up, whether he has 10 points, whether he has 20, whether he has fucking 2. The guy was making big stops and making the shots he needed to make. And Jaylen Brown was playing second fiddle and was playing fucking soloist out there. An amazing second fiddle the entire time. And the Warriors, like I said, you got to tip your hat off to them because they're just, Clay said it best. Fucked up Clay said it best. We shoot threes and win championships. That's what they do, man. And they're a great team. So I'll let you have the floor and discuss your take on the NBA Finals.
So first, I want to give a huge congratulations to Draymond Green, my brother.
Absolutely.
My brother from Saginaw, Michigan. He went to the wrong school in Michigan, but he's representing Michigan very well. For somebody that talks as much shit that he talks on social media, on his podcast, in your face, behind closed doors, no matter what.
Before you continue, shout out to Draymond because the podcaster has 4 rings now.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that he's able to talk all that shit in the middle of an NBA Finals, that's probably the most gangster shit I've ever seen in my entire life. We've seen a lot of shit. I've never seen someone personally attack media, players, everybody in the middle of an NBA Finals on his own podcast and still help their team win a championship. That's the most gangster shit I've ever seen. So Draymond is one of my favorite players in the league. I have a lot of respect for him. So I'm definitely happy to see his success. He's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer. I don't care what y'all say about his stats. He's a Hall of Famer.
100% agree.
Number 2, I want to give flowers to Andrew Wiggins. I do talk a lot of shit about Andrew Wiggins since he got drafted. Actually, when he got drafted, I was a fan of his. So I thought I didn't like Jabari Parker, probably the Duke thing. I don't know, but I thought Andrew Wiggins would be a lot better, and he was in wrong situations. He got drafted by a team and then got traded to another team so LeBron can come play. So obviously, he got a weird start to his career. And we have that many coaches and that much shit going on. He's still a number 1 overall pick. So Golden State got away with highway robbery because they still had a number 1 overall pick as their 3rd and 4th and sometimes 5th option. So that's still Golden State being Golden State. Another shout out to Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is just, 5 championships as a player, 4 championships as a coach. He's done it with Michael Jordan. He's done it with Tim Duncan. He's now done it with Steph Curry, and it's for his level of consistency on both being one of the better role players of all time is just coming in making big shots for Chicago, making big shots for San Antonio, and now he knows how to coach role players to be the best that they can possibly be. I think that's kind of the edge that he has right now all over the whole NBA. So big shout out to Steve Kerr. He's a very likable person. He says the right thing. So he's somebody that you can't hate. And finally, Steph Curry. I'm proud. I don't hate Steph Curry. When it comes down to it, there's not many players or athletes that I hate. Not really, it's really hard for me to hate a player. But the way people talk about Steph Curry, man, you really think he is God. So I just want y'all to just chill out for a little bit.
I
But
agree.
definitely got to give kudos to Steph. He finally got that Finals MVP he's been waiting on. 31 points a game in the finals, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. He shot over 40% from three. He made a lot of big shots. You know, you got to give it to him. He's a 4-time champion. Two regular season MVPs, 1 Finals MVP, 4-time All NBA first team, 3-time All NBA second team, 1-time All NBA third team, 2-time scoring champ. So you got to give him his kudos, give him his flowers. My question back to you is, where do we put him all time now? Is he top 10, 12, 15? Where do you put him?
He's got a seat at the table for
Because
me.
everybody, as soon as somebody wins a championship, everyone is hyperbole. Remember Kawhi when he won a championship? Everyone said Kawhi's the best player since Michael Jordan. Out of nowhere, I'm like, bro, relax.
I didn't get that.
But you know what I mean, though. Like, you know how the media is. Like, as soon as someone wins a championship, the whole world is like, whoa, he's more skilled than this guy and better than this guy. So now that Steph has won another championship, everyone's jumping to hyperbole saying he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I do agree he's moved up in my rankings, but I want to see where do you think, from a legacy standpoint, where do you think this one puts him down?
I think Steph has got a seat at my table for sure, but I don't know if he's I think he's pulling up a
How
chair.
big is your table?
My table of 10, like he's there just sitting at the table now. Like he's the guy finally pulling up a chair to have this conversation. That's the way I would put it.
Yeah.
I can't put here's the thing about Steph, and I respect his game. I think I used to dislike Steph only because one, he had to go against LeBron James, and I'm not going to root against LeBron James. That's like one of my favorite players to watch, and I'm not going to. And I think the other reason I didn't like him is because one, KD signed there.
Kevin Durant. I knew the Kevin Durant thing would piss you off.
Yeah, but the KD thing is just like it's an unnecessary luxury. Like you didn't need it. Like you were going there regardless, and then you went and got arguably the best shooter around, or one of the best scorers around. So now that they were able to win this without Kevin Durant and with a lot of young players and players that played similar to that style that they went to and won the first NBA Finals, I got more respect for him, because when you look at that team, it's a team. It's a team game there. Everybody knows their roles. There's, of course, Steph is going to score his points, but if you put Steph on the Charlotte Hornets, Steph ain't going to win no championships. If you put Steph on the Detroit Pistons, he ain't going to win no championships. If you pair him with Bradley Beal, they ain't winning no championships in Washington. The thing about LeBron James and a lot of these guys that have a seat at the table is their pure dominance of the game. And Steph, I'm not calling Steph a role player, but he knows his role in this game on the Warriors. He's a pure shooter. He's able to get off the screens, and he's going to score. But Steph ain't dishing out no 10 dimes a game. Steph ain't grabbing, 10 rebounds. But the thing about this Warriors team, I would put them more as like, where does this team stack up amongst all of these?
Historically, I like that question.
That's what I would look at it more as, because Steph literally is just like these 10 dudes that we probably have the same guys at the same table are talking, and now Steph is pulling up with this finals trophy and the trophy, or the Larry O'Brien trophy, and putting it at the table and be like, what's up, y'all? And like, now he wants to talk. I have no problem with that. I have no problem looking at this list and reorganizing it down. By all means, Steph is the greatest shooter of all time in my book.
That's not even a debate, no. That's not even close to a debate.
Not even close to
that's
debate.
Kind of something that gives him a top 10 credential. He's the greatest at something ever in the NBA. So, I mean, you got to give him that.
But you got to look at his acolytes too. You went down them before you started talking about it. And it's an amazing list that he's been able to accomplish. And he's also a person who has changed the game of basketball for the good or for the better or for the worse. We don't know. But
it definitely changed.
It has definitely changed. And you see it. You saw the Warriors got it down pat. This is their style of basketball. They win championships and they shoot threes. That's what they do. And then they play outstanding defense on the other end too. Okay, they might get blown out some games, gives the media something to talk about, gives
But they lost by 50 in the same playoffs. That's crazy shit.
Exactly. And the insane thing about it is like they still win. They come out victorious. I kept saying to myself, like, I want to root for Boston, but there is championship pedigree there that we're not respecting, that the media is not respecting. Maybe because we've seen it before and we want something new. Maybe like Steph is really a villain deep down inside, but how can you hate him? Like it's really
cocky.
Huh?
Because he's cocky.
He's like the sweetest, cockiest.
He's cocky, and listen, I'm gonna say it again. He did it. That bullshit gets him on nerve. Anyway, he did it again for Team Light Skin.
He did.
he got all the Drake fans and all the Bad Bunny fans on his back. He is Team Light Skin and he's carrying them right now. Him and Steph Curry and Drake are carrying Team Light Skin right now.
They really are. Don't even talk about that Drake CD, man.
And the Weeknd. All those light skinned brothers just carrying this shit.
If you like that album, like shut up, please. Don't even fall.
Hey, it's not a hip hop album. It's for what it was. It was fine. Okay, for what it was.
We're gonna take it off of basketball. We're gonna talk about Drake. This is my view of Drake. Okay, Drake's the kind of silly nanny that goes out there and just teases you with something. He'll tell you, I'm dropping an album at midnight, gets everybody hyped and gets you upset for it. Because one, all his albums sound the same. Then, hear me out, he'll release a single and it's a banger, bro. You're like, oh my God, what album is gonna be on? It's not gonna be on the album, but it's a banger. Then he's gonna drop 3 more, like a 3-piece EP of 3 straight bangers. You're gonna be like, oh my God, summertime Drake is here. And then you're gonna go into the same album that you heard before. I forgot to call you on your birthday. I'm so lonely. Why don't you call me?
Look, Drake.
Drake is an entertainer. Drake is an entertainer. Drake is not a rapper.
That's what we need. I think we're so blinded by. Cause I forgot what podcast I was listening to, but they were talking about the difference between like hip hop, rap, and then like being an actual MC. Drake is not an MC, and that's what the difference is. Like he's not a Jay-Z, he's not a Nas, he's not a Rakim, he's not none of those guys. But he is an outstanding musician. And if we put him back in that box of musician that makes good hip-hop music, good pop music, some good Caribbean sounds, then it's a better understanding of Drake. But if we're so stuck on Drake as a rapper, then you're gonna be pissed off every time you hear his album, because Drake is not a rapper. He's a musician that has a lot of tones, and so I'm gonna let that one go. The album wasn't the greatest thing ever, but it wasn't. When I was told the kind of album it was supposed to be, then it starts to make more sense. Like I'm not gonna listen to him talking about anything that's hip hop-ish. You know what I mean? So if you're looking for a hip hop album, you're not going to get it with this one. But yeah, back to the light skin conversation. I did have a couple spinoffs from what you were talking about. So the one with Andrew Wiggins, right? So we're comparing Andrew Wiggins and the Kevin Durant thing. I want to get to Kevin Durant in a little bit, but basically what the Warriors did, and I tweeted it like the next morning, is all they did was just keep rotating small forwards. Harrison Barnes won a championship. Kevin Durant won a championship. Andrew Wiggins won a championship. And all 3 of those guys are pretty important to that. There's no way the Warriors are winning the championship if Andrew Wiggins did not play the way he played. Like, that's how great Andrew Wiggins played. And I never thought I would say that. The guy's an all-star starter this year, and I was laughing about that shit.
No, me too.
There's no way the Warriors are winning a championship without Andrew Wiggins this year, and it's crazy to say that, but I'm gonna keep it a buck. But let me kick this to you real quick. Who do you think benefited more? No, who do you think was more? How am I gonna put this? All right, those 2 championships that they won in a row with Kevin Durant. Who do you think helped who more? Did KD help Steph more, or did Steph help KD more? Because at the end of the day, Steph, you know how like I look at players and I'm like, all right, he won a championship. Like LeBron, he won his 2 championships with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and that was cool and dandy, right? However, to me, those championships didn't really mean much until he came back to Cleveland and won that one. That Cleveland one was super important. This one for Steph, he won it with no Kevin Durant. Clay is not 100%. You know, Draymond doesn't score points anymore. For him to win the championship in this aspect, it means a lot. And Kevin Durant hasn't sniffed an NBA Finals since he left. So, who do you think helped who more in that? Because do you think Steph would have won those 2 championships without KD? Do you think KD would win the championship period without Steph?
So Steph definitely helped KD more, is the way I see it. Because, like I said, seat at the table, Kevin Durant doesn't have a seat at my table, because Kevin Durant has never gone to a place where he's put the team on his back to win a championship. Kevin Durant has gone to places where I'm going to feed and play my role and get my buckets, and I'll win a championship because I'm good. And that's just Golden State so far. And now you're trying to make a super team out there in Brooklyn, which they've been trying to do, and it hasn't worked. I don't see KD as like a guy to like, okay, it's my time. I'm going to put the team on my back. Kind of like how LeBron got that one.
I've seen KD put the team on his back a lot of times. It's just,
but it's not the fine. But he's not doing.
He hasn't taken it that far.
Hasn't taken it that far. That's what I'm trying to get at. I have seen, dude. We saw Marcus Smart when he made that one shot on 1 foot. Marcus Smart was like,
yeah, like he's a bad boy.
He's bad, but KD doesn't have that like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Like it's my team, and I'm going to get this team there. Like I'm gonna have the right guys around me to help me do it. But at the end of the day, like everyone will be able to point their fingers and be like, Kevin Durant did that. Nah, I'm sorry. Like everyone was happy that KD got his championship, but at what expense? Like you went to the team that won the NBA Finals. Like that's unheard of. That's like Magic Johnson losing to the Celtics and saying, well, fuck it, I'm gonna go play with Bird. I guess.
Join them.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So I think it helps Steph. I mean, I think it helped KD more. And where I give respect to Steph and Draymond and Clay is they went back to the roots. They went back to the roots on how they did this shit in the beginning. They won with those three, and Andre Iguodala didn't play, but Andre Iguodala was definitely vocal. He was coaching, exactly. So you're going to see him on the Warriors bench probably next year as a coach or Udonis Haslem type of guy, but you needed that. You needed that energy to get in there. So I give them respects because they went back to what they know. And you can give Steph his credit there because, one, you didn't have a more youthful Andre Iguodala just balling up and down the court. Instead, you got to see Steph score 31 a game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, like just shoot. And got what he needed to come to him, a Finals MVP. And that's where I give credit to. And to answer your question, though, Steph definitely helped KD get that. Like I told you, KD was an unnecessary luxury. They could have won that. They could have won and plugged in some other small forward that would have been great. Because like you said it, the formula was working. The Harrison Barnes things worked. The Kevin Durant thing obviously worked. And then look at Andrew Wiggins now. I think it just comes down to getting a player that's going to fit your system and is going to want to, listen and understand. And for Harrison Barnes and for Andrew Wiggins, they were both young at that time. Like they were the new guys on the block doing this. So
you know what though? The thing, two things. The thing about Golden State, what makes them so great, is that they get everyone to buy in defensively as well. So like KD was never really known to be a great defensive player, but those couple of years that he spent in Golden State, he was like a really good defensive player, right? And ever since he's left, he hasn't been known as a good defensive player again, right? But those, like, they really make you buy into playing good team defense, talking on defense, rotational defense, crashing the board. I mean, there was that one game, Andrew Wiggins had like 18 rebounds or something. I'm like, damn, and that's the thing. The second thing is that, and to answer the question that I asked you, what I've realized, and this is why Steph Curry needs to have a seat at that table, Steph Curry makes it easier for everyone on the floor to play basketball. Why? Because no matter what, And a lot of players have this skill that some of the greats of all time. No matter what, when he's on the floor, there's 5 eyes or 10 eyes looking at him from the other team, because no matter what, he's running off screen. You gotta trap him. You have to do everything you can to stop him from scoring, which takes away your attention from Klay Thompson, from Andrew Wiggins, from Kuminga, from Jordan Poole, from all these other guys to just be free and play basketball freely, and they don't have to ever worry about a double team. They don't have to worry about their guys always going to be late. Like, all that stuff is what helps a lot of these other guys play well. And so, like, think about it. Like LeBron, when the ball's in LeBron's hands, everyone's watching him. MJ, Kobe, Magic, everyone's always watching them because they have to watch. They have to pay attention. So, what gives Steph Curry credit to answer that question with the whole Kevin Durant thing is, yeah, he definitely helped KD. Because think about it, there's a reason why KD is a lot more successful having somebody like a Kyrie than a Russell Westbrook. Because the thing about Russ, like, Russ can't shoot, so you don't really have to put too much attention to him. You just have to know where he's at, because he's going to get reboards and stuff like that. But Kyrie, you can't go one-on-one with him all game long. He's going to cook you for 50. And that's what Steph is. You can't just go one-on-one with him all day, because he'll cook you for 50. And I think that's what KD just needs. He just needs somebody to just take away attention from him. So you go one-on-one and hit like 15 mid-range shots, a couple threes, and next year you see he has 35 points. So that's what KD needed. And I think Golden State, I mean, how they just run that offense, I mean, it's beautiful. Like you said, it is beautiful to watch. I always envy teams like that. Like, I always wish the Sixers were like that. I always wish LeBron played for a team like that as well. Like, if LeBron James got drafted by the Miami Heat, LeBron James would have 10 championships. I'm convinced. I'm very convinced. And it really just depends on where you're drafted. Like, at the end of the day, if you have a good organization around you, you're not going to have to overcome too much.
And you got to give kudos to the front office too. They've kept the same front office there. Atkinson got hired for the head coach of the Hornets, and he said, "I'm good."
Kenny Atkinson turned down Michael Jordan for Steve Kerr. Just keep that in mind.
Exactly. Like, decided to stay, and he likes the winning culture there. And maybe he thinks, maybe
he's a lead assistant now. So yeah.
Maybe he thinks he's like Steve Kerr is going to retire, which I don't ever see that happening anytime soon.
Steve Kerr honestly doesn't have anything to prove anymore. He can go into I think Steve Kerr should go into the front office and chill, because like, his health is not that great. Like, he's had the back issues. He's had a lot of issues, and all that travel is not good for him. And I've seen him over the years. He's aged a lot in 10 years. So to me, Steve Kerr, kind of like what Brad Stevens did and stuff like that, he'd be great just being in the front office, like Pat Riley did. Just go in the front office. You got Kenny Atkinson to run the rest of the show. I think that's going to be like a move in a couple of years that we're going to see happen, because at some point, we don't know when, because this Warriors team is like San Antonio Spurs. It's like the Patriots. It just seems like a dynasty that's just going to last for a long time, as long as you got your key pieces there. So.
And you said one of the things I want to touch on, is this considered a dynasty now that they've won?
Of course. They've been to 6 NBA finals in 8 years or something like that, or 9 years? Of course. Of course.
And dude, like, it's crazy to think that, because, like, you look at them and it's all obvious. Like, what was it? Klay went down, then Steph went down, and they were the worst team in the NBA. Then they get a 2 overall pick, and it's Wiseman. Wiseman's an NBA champion now.
Your boy Wiseman's an NBA champ.
We don't know what's going to come out of that now. Like, apparently, like, there's, the kid could rehab him, could be good. It could fit into the mold. They could get rid of him. You don't know what happens.
It don't even matter. Kuminga looks good. Moody looks good. Wiseman is going to be good, and if not, they can trade and get some. No, the Warriors are just. Their front office, wow.
They don't even want this draft pick. They don't want their draft pick. They want more cap money to keep this team together, and that's smart. Also,
they also go deep into the luxury tax, by the way. They're like the only team that's willing to go very deep into the luxury tax. But yeah.
Another guy I want to give credit to, and I'm like, dude, this is the smallest guard I've ever seen play forward is Gary Payton Jr., man. That dude I don't know. Like he's got some bunnies, bro, and he looks
It's in
like a
his blood, bro. That's that. His dad is a dog, so he got to be a dog.
is he like 6'2"?
If that, maybe, yeah.
Tiny,
Because I
but he
mean,
bunnies.
how tall was Gary Payton, like senior? Well, senior. How tall was our Gary Payton? Like 6'1", right?
6 or 6'3", I thought.
Let's see, Gary Payton. Wait, no, you know there's like a Gary Payton the second and a Gary Payton Jr. Like Gary Payton named both of his sons Gary, so one is the second and one is junior. But yeah, Gary Payton the second, the champion, is 6'3" with shoes on. But yeah, he does. He does play a lot bigger than his size, though. I mean, yeah. Again,
So
you
this
got to give it to him. Like they just know. And then his dad was 6'4". Oh wow. But yeah, the Warriors they just get it, bro. They get it. So yeah, they're a dynasty. And if I have to look at an all time where I'd rank them, the '80s Lakers were similar, 5 championships in that decade. The Celtics won 3 in that decade. The Bulls in the '90s won 6 in that decade. The early 2000 Lakers won 3, and then 2 more, but still Kobe was like the leader of all that. So you can call that a dynasty. Tim Duncan won 5 in his 20-year, 15-year span of something like that. So that's similar kind of dynasty. So, I look at Steph Curry as he's like the Tim Duncan of guards, just unselfish. He just plays his role very, very well, and he's a great leader, and he's helping his team win championships no matter who's there. So, like I said, it's. I wish it was a team that I rooted for because it is beautiful to watch, and I'm always a fan of greatness, no matter who it is. Like
we've been stuck on the Warriors for. I don't want to. I know we got to go to the next topic, but like we haven't touched on the Celtics at all. Like what was the Achilles heel that cracked for them finally? Do you think it was just like running through everything in the East and finally breaking down, or the lack of play of Tatum, or
the combination of all of that? It was a perfect storm for Golden State to win a championship year. Golden State's run to the finals,
easy?
and that's the thing that kind of bothers me about the Warriors because they get lucky, and to be great, you got to get lucky a lot, right? But they get really lucky with injuries every single year. I remember Kawhi did them for like 20 or 30 in the first quarter, and then he lands on Bogut's ankle, and that was it. And then they lose that series. This was a few years ago. They played LeBron's the first time they played LeBron. People forget because LeBron's lost in the finals. So, bro, he played that finals without Kyrie and without Kevin Love. His best player was Matthew Dellavedova, and that Russian dude, whatever his name was, what was it? Mozgov, Timofey Mozgov. Like that was his 2 best players. So, like they've gotten really fortunate. And then apparently, Jason Tatum had a little bit of a shoulder injury. You can tell his play definitely. I remember, I think it was game 5 or 6 when he went down with that shoulder injury in Miami, and you could tell his play is definitely went down from there. But yeah, Golden State this series, I mean this playoff run, they got a Nuggets team without Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. was just Jokic. They got a Memphis Grizzlies team without John Morant, with a banged up Desmond Bane. They got the Mavericks with Luka trying to do this shit by himself. And then they got this Boston team who came from back-to-back game 7s. Robert Williams was hurt. Jason Tatum was a little banged up. Marcus Smart was a little banged up. You can just I think attrition really got Boston, and on top of the fact that they don't have championship experience. Like none of those guys have done anything in an NBA Finals before. So this is brand new territory for them. I did underestimate the championship pedigree that the Warriors had and have still, but I think Boston, they're on their way. Jason Tatum just got to play a little bit. I mean, he's 21.7 assists, 7 rebounds a game, but he shot 65% from the free throw line and 36% from the field. From the field, Andrew Wiggins had a lot to do with that. But the fact that he shot 65% from the free throw line, something was wrong with him. Like I'm convinced. A shooter like a shooter of his caliber going 65% for the free throw line, something was wrong. So I just think attrition kind of just defeated them this time. So the healthier team won. What do they need to do moving forward? I think they need to get more versatile from like point guard play. Marcus Smart is a great great defensive point guard, but they earlier in the year they had like a Dennis Schroeder coming off the bench. They experimented with the Kemba Walker thing and all that stuff. They do need like a spark plug point guard to just go off and just go get you some buckets. When Marcus Smart is resting, because Marcus Smart is asked to do a lot. Is stay in front of Steph Curry. That's a lot to ask. Stay in front of Steph Curry and go make some threes, please. That's a lot to ask with Marcus Smart. So I think they need to get a little bit more versatile from that standpoint. And then their important players, Al Horford, is too old to be their third most important player or fourth most important player. So I think they should get a little bit more younger in certain areas. But I mean, they're on their way, but it's going to get any easier for them next year. But if we look at the landscape of the East, they're going to be one of the favorites to win the East again next year. So they're on their way. They just got to tweak a little bit of things. But they did. For a first-year head coach, they did a fantastic job to get this far, especially when we did this show 6 months ago and we were ready to write them off. I mean, they were under 500. They were like in 10th or 11th place. I was talking about trading Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. It wasn't looking good for them to make this turnaround.
The Knicks beat them.
Yeah, for them to make this turnaround, you got to tip your cap to them. It was a tall task for them to win this championship, given everything they had to endure in the playoff. I mean, they had to beat Kevin Durant, Giannis, playoff Jimmy Butler, and Steph Curry. That's a lot to ask. So you got to tip your cap to them for sure.
Yeah. Definitely, for sure. And I think that they're going to be one of the favorites in the East. I think, like you just said, there's going to be some tooling that has to be done for that bench. It's a very young team.
The bench, for sure. The bench needs help.
They made the right moves to get younger, but I feel like it was too young. You need some veterans there. You need guys that have been there before. Somebody to spark it up and say, "Hey, I've been in NBA finals." Like a Tony Bradley, Avery Bradley would have been a go-get. He's been to the finals. He was an old Celtic.
PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker would have been great for him.
We'll talk about that. But I agree. It's just unfortunate. They did have a very, very tough path to get there. And like you said, everyone was like, Robert Williams, man, I can't wait to see him running at 100% because Robert Williams, good Lord.
I think if it was 100%, we might have a different outcome, honestly.
Yeah. A lot of those guys, if they were at 100%, but hey,
Tatum too, yeah.
That's the way the game is played. And I mean, we sit here and say this: the Warriors have it lucky. Well, 2 years in a row, they, Clay hurts his shit in the finals, and it was like and KD snaps his shit. So like everything was like bittersweet. We all thought that was the end of the era for that.
Yeah, but clearly it shows. When the Warriors are hurt, they can't win. But when they play everybody else that's hurt, then the other team can't win. It literally comes down to who's the healthiest team come June. And the Warriors, for a lot of these rings that they've won, have been the health. I mean, they even somehow, when I saw Gary Payton Jr. snap his, his arm or whatever, his elbow, I didn't think he was able to come back and play this postseason. They were able to get him back, and he played pretty good minutes for him. He gave him 20 minutes a game. Like, he was if I'm not mistaken, he was second in plus minus in the series for them. Kevon Looney was one, and Gary Payton was second. Oh yeah, another shout out, Kevon Looney. He's like one of those guys that you just don't talk about, but his presence is shows every single night he plays. So I mean, he was what was he? I mean, he gave you 7.5 rebounds, 5 points. It doesn't seem like it's a lot, but it was all important shit that he did.
Yeah, exactly.
All important.
You got Draymond chirping, and you got to get somebody off the bench. Like, perfect guy to come in. If he needs to start, he starts, and he does a good job. Also played every game in the NBA season, so got to give him props there too.
Hey, he's one of those guys. Like, damn. He's one of those guys for sure.
So congrats to the Warriors. We'll see what happens next season. Like I said, I never count them out. But new era of basketball is coming. We got a draft class that's going to be presented tomorrow.
The NBA hot stove.
The NBA hot stove is officially started, and I love NBA free agency. I love free agency, period.
Every sport, free agency is beautiful to watch.
It's so fun. I love the gossip. I love the rumors. I love the takes. I love everything on it. And NBA has always been one that's been really, really fun. So NBA,
you do real. So like in every sport, NBA free agency wasn't even like, I mean, not NBA. Free agency wasn't something that was like a big thing, right? But ever since LeBron's decision, baseball, you just see crazy shit happening in baseball. Football, they dominate March and April now. They dominate the months of March and April because of free agency and the draft coverage. Baseball, I mean, we just saw it this past, even with the lockout. As soon as the lockout ended, move. Everybody, it was like, damn. So yeah, free agency is like it keeps the seasons going, because like when they're not playing, we're like, damn, now what? But what happens is LeBron moves from Cleveland to Miami. Kevin Durant moves from Golden State to Brooklyn. Like that kind of shit be happening.
it's insane, and it's a good time, man. It's a break or make for fan bases too. At the same time, you can either have a great free agency, you can have a great draft, or back to the shithole you go. I'm used to it, so we'll see what happens. But the draft is tomorrow night. We are recording this on a Wednesday, so the draft is on a Thursday, on the 23rd.
You got to be listening today, and it's Thursday, so the draft is tonight.
So the Orlando Magic have the first pick for the third time.
They got Dwight, they got Shaq, they got
Chris Webber and traded it. This is the fourth.
He was first. Yeah. They traded for Anthony. So yeah, this is their fourth.
Their fourth overall pick, and pretty much even with the swap of Chris Webber for Anthony Hardaway, it's been successful.
Well, yeah, because it made sense to have a guard for Shaq.
So now Orlando has first pick. Oklahoma City and all their hoarded draft picks is going to, and Houston has 3. The 3 big names in this draft: Jabari Smith. What's the kid out of Gonzaga?
Chet Holmgren.
And was it Paolo
Banchero?
Yeah. So I keep looking every day. Like if I'm a betting man, Jabari Smith is the guy you got to go for. However, there's so many avenues and streets that the Magic could take here. Everyone says the safe bet is Jabari Smith.
There's only one smart decision: go get Jabari Smith.
I agree. However,
have you been researching the players and stuff, like trying to like kind of just get to know them a little bit better?
Absolutely. My favorite guy is Paulo. I like Paulo a lot. I just sort of fit in that.
Duke ass players.
I like him though. I absolutely despise Duke players for the most part. But when I watched him in those series, I was like, dude, this kid can ball, and like he doesn't have to do it all. When he needs to turn it on, he can turn it on. He's definitely like a facilitating big man. So Jabari Smith is just a pure scorer, man. That guy's freaking money right there. But here's the other avenue I give you here. Chet Holmgren played for Gonzaga. That was Suggs' team. Maybe Suggs is like, yo, that's my alma mater, blah, blah, blah. We always preach that, like, get guys that are familiar with each other. Even though they didn't play together, like, there's familiarity with the program. And then Banchero is just like, whatever. I don't know. But what I've been seeing about him is Vegas odds has his name moving up to be first a lot lately.
Oh no!
I don't think that's going to happen though.
The reason why, you have to look at the makeup of these teams, right? So I've been studying this shit left and right, upside and downside, because the NFL draft is like the more popular thing, obviously, but the NBA draft, I really like the NBA draft because like there's players that get drafted all the time that are not 1, 2, and 3. Who end up being the best players of, Damian Lillard was not a top 3 pick. What's his name? Donovan Mitchell was not a top 3 pick. A lot of these guys, I mean, Michael Jordan was the 3rd overall pick. Like Kevin Durant got picked 2nd. Like a lot of these guys, like, you don't know. It just really depends on who you get drafted by. And what the makeup of the team is, what the front office looks like. I mean, Steph Curry, we're going to look at it in 15 years and we're going to realize Steph Curry was a number 6 or 7 pick. What? Why? Right? Blake Griffin went 1, right? I mean, they took a lot. They took like 3 other guards. Like Johnny Flynn, I think, went before Steph Curry. Like, what kind of bullshit is that? So it's really funny when we do these comparisons and mocks and realize there's going to be some bust or there's going to be some players that just end up in bad situations. I look at Orlando. When they made their great selections, they drafted Shaq, a big man, Dwight Howard, a big man, Chris Webber, a big man that turned into Anthony Hardaway, but they drafted a big man. Banchero is not a big man. He's a tall wing player.
Lanky.
Chet Holmgren is not a big man. He's just a skinny, lanky, tall guy. Jabari Smith, I like to look at draft comparisons and kind of just see like style of play and all that stuff. His comp is Chris Bosh and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Rashard Lewis. Orlando needs that. I mean, his play one season at Auburn. They had a dominant year at that school. He was clearly the reason why. 17 points a game, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. The big thing, he shot 42% from 3 and 80% from the free throw line. And he still plays big. He's going to be a dog in the NBA. In today's NBA, he is a perfect player. Big body that can shoot threes, efficient from the free throw line, will grab rebounds, will block shots, and doesn't have too big of an ego. Orlando, to me, slam dunk Jabari Smith because they have a lot of guards as it is. And Chet Holmgren, like they already have like a Jonathan Isaac. They already have a Mo Bamba. They already have a Wendell Carter. They don't need a center or another 7-footer that they're going to try to experiment with because he doesn't fit that team to me. They have Jalen Suggs. They have R.J. Hampton. They have Cole Anthony. They have Markelle Fultz. They need a Chris Bosh type of player who's going to make everyone's life easier on the court. So to me, he would be think of like who was it, Evan Mobley like last year. Just players like that just a perfect stretch 4 that can do a lot.
The thing about the Magic is like they're like a stable for players. They have like a bunch of just trade assets. Like we've got a plethora of point guards. We got a plethora of like shooting guards. We got a plethora of power forwards. Like they have everything on that team. Like Terrence Ross is now expendable. Okay, he should have been like 2 years ago.
They should have got rid of him 2 years ago.
3 serviceable point guards that could easily start, and you're turning one into a shooting guard. So then you got how many big men? You got Wendell Carter. You got Mo Bamba. You got
Jonathan Isaac, who gets hurt every year.
That dude is whack to me. I'm sorry, I'm not sold on him and all that. Like what the way he
take
thinks.
His personal stuff away from it. Okay? Take his off the court stuff away from it. As a talent, he's a good player as a talent.
But he's always hurt.
Yeah.
And then you got the Wagner brothers too. And I looked to see how tall they were, bro.
One is 6. Forgot about that.
One is 6'11", 1'6".
They got the Wagner brothers. No, they
got a lot.
They got so much, and that's the problem. They have so much youth. They don't have a grown up on that team. So
it was Ross, but Ross ain't that type of guy.
But Terrence is not like that.
Let me yam on somebody, and that's
at best he will be a very good 6th man for a championship team. He's not a leader of men to me. No offense to him.
No, absolutely, 100%. And he got put in a position where we thought he was going to take that leap and be a superstar, leaving Toronto, being on a Magic team that's not showing out, having anybody come into a stardom.
I mean, they made the playoffs a couple years ago with him. I mean, Evan Fournier, your boy, and all that. But if you look at that Magic team, who do you think is the leader of that team right now? Who do you think is running shit?
I could not tell you who it is.
That's the scary part about it. They don't have a leader.
They don't, and that is scary. It could be anybody. If it were me, I would make Jalen Suggs that guy. I feel like Jalen Suggs
has Cole Anthony better.
I like Cole Anthony too.
Cole Anthony. First of all, he's a UNC kid.
Yeah,
Second
no,
of all, his dad played in the league, so he knows what the fuck's going on.
I agree with you on that too. But I don't know, man. Like when he was at UNC, he played well, but then he got hurt for most of the season, and then he comes in, and I didn't get to see anything. However, he has been playing exceptional basketball, and I appreciate that. Um, Maybe it can be a two-headed monster. You don't know, but there isn't one guy on that team that is like the vocal person there, and that's hard. I thought it was going to be Jonathan Isaac until he kept getting hurt, and then he starts saying stupid shit
And then
about
in 2020, nobody wants to follow him no more.
yeah, exactly.
After his comments.
Weird, but that's a team with no identity, and I think you could get that out of Jabari Smith if he comes in and plays that role, because I think he can be that a first overall pick. I mean, Dwight was the focal point of that team, and he was very vocal. Shaq was the first overall pick, and he was very, very vocal. I mean, Penny tag teamed it with Shaq, and they were both very, very vocal and felt throughout the NBA. So I would think they're going to tell Jabari or whoever they're going to choose number one, you're going to be our guy. We've got these other guys that need like guidance or somebody to be their voice. It's going to be you.
You know who I talked to a Magic fan recently, and they told me that the leader actually is Markelle Fultz.
Was it Evan?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Evan. But they said the leader, like a lot of those guards on that team, they have hella freaking guards. They all go to they go to Markelle Fultz for that kind of leadership. But I'm looking at their roster right now. As far as experience, they have 3 players out of like the 15 or 17 on their active roster that have over 5 years of experience. Robin Lopez, Terrence Ross, and Gary Harris. Everybody else, kid. 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 1 year. Like it's a bunch of children on that team. So adding another first overall pick is going to be another kid to the team. But I like how we feel about SEC kids. Like they come with a little bit more. Like they've been through some shit before. And he's a kid from the South, from Georgia. He's obviously been through some shit. He went to school in Alabama. I think he's going to come and, they got Bobo too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was just a late season pickup.
Yeah, but they got, to me, Jabari Smith is just, go get him. Like, don't make this more complicated. Unless they can package this and go get a veteran, like, all-star player, which is unlikely. The only way I'm not drafting him is if I can go get an all-star via trade. Outside of that, just go get him, bro. That's how I feel. Now, can I just talk about Chet Holmgren and Paolo really quickly?
Absolutely. I want to talk about him too. So go ahead.
Chet Holmgren, we've talked about him on the show a few times, and I don't really see it as far as the next greatest thing, but I do think him going to OKC, because OKC has the second overall pick, if he ends up there, that could be something. Why? Because the OKC, for what it's worth, is a pretty well-ran organization. They've done a pretty decent. I mean, obviously they've acquired 1 million picks, and who cares? But they've accepted the fact that they're rebuilding, and they have Shai Gilgeous, they have Josh Giddey. To me, adding Chet Holmgren to that trio, I wouldn't say it's going to be like Russ, Harden, and KD, but it looks like it. Like they have a great guard, they have 2 great guards, and then a unicorn type of player. And obviously, when you play in college, you're a little limited. I remember when they said the only person that could stop Michael Jordan was Dean Smith, his coach at UNC. And that's the thing. The thing about college sports is that you do get handcuffed. It's only a 40-minute game. The rules are a little different. You got to pass the ball. And mind you, when he got to Gonzaga, there was a lot of other players on the team that have been there and done that kind of thing. So maybe he'll get a lot more free in the NBA playing with it's a space league. There's a lot more space on the court. He's got to add some mass to his body. He's too small, too skinny. He was getting bullied by college players in the tournament. Can you imagine what these NBA players are gonna do to him? They have to pay bills and shit. So he's got to get some mass. He's got to be a man. Like, to me, I don't see any alpha male in him. I just see like a little kid. that's
I don't.
tall and lanky. So
I don't.
I think the OKC situation could work for him though.
To piggyback off of that, I hate saying that term because everybody in my office says
You
that.
said this last week or a couple weeks ago as well.
Because I'm in work mode still, and I hear it all the time. Let me piggyback off of that. Anyways, to reiterate back to that, what you were saying.
Good work. Good work.
Both situations for the 2 and 3 pick are going to be good, whoever it is, because in Orlando we just went down it. It's crowded everywhere for any one of those positions. It's going to be crowded, and all 3 of those guys are a natural power forward and or center, so they can play any one of those 2 positions. If it were me, they're all power forwards,
well,
but
not Banchero. Banchero is a tall small forward.
Power forward center. Look it up. He's a power
He's
forward.
Not no damn center.
I know he's not, but that's what they have him. They have him and Chet, power forward center.
He ain't no damn center.
I agree with you, but all I'm saying is like that's the position, and those positions in Orlando are very hazy. There's a lot of competition there. Although that 1 overall pick is going to start, somebody who was there before is going to get that bump down. So, but going to OKC and going to Houston just got rid of Christian Wood. So now you got to open up a spot right there. And I still like that dude from Turkey that's on the Rockets, but they might not like him. And somebody else.
That dude is good.
Yeah.
That dude is good. I remember watching him in the summer league last year. I'm like, damn. And then during the season, I saw some flashes from him. I'm like, yo, once he figures out this NBA shit, yo, I like that dude.
I do too.
I want to get his name. My bad. Hold up.
Ringu or something like that.
Yeah, it's like Shengun or something like that. So my uncle's name is Shegun, Segun. So I'm like, is this dude Nigerian? And I see him, he's definitely not Nigerian.
But the thing about those two picks is, look at OKC. They're literally throwing anything out there and seeing if it sticks. And it's a good place to fall into to see if this works. And if not, oh, well, we're going to blow this shit up because we've got like draft picks for 40 years. And then Houston, like, there's a problem there, obviously. You got Jalen Green and you've got other parts there. Like,
you're crowded too, if you think about it.
Yeah, they're really not that crowded. There's just a lot of role players. Like, some guys are going to take the back seat. They're not going to start. Bankero, whoever goes there, is going to be starting for sure.
It has to be him, bro. Like, to me, he fits that roster.
And I feel like he's a voice of reasoning. I think when that guy called him Pat Mahomes at the Raceway thing, like, that just rubbed that man the wrong way. So like, he's got some voice in him. But that's a good transition to our next part with free agency, because like John Wall has opted into his contract, so like he's definitely gone. He's not going to be there. They're going to find somebody to move or have him move around, and there's a lot of pieces to be moved around. And like you said, Orlando has that first pick. They're obviously going to draft somebody, but you got a guy like Bradley Beal. Could you bring Bradley Beal to Orlando and have that help to try and win shit there?
Or there's no high-level free agent that's ever going to go to Orlando. Let's just keep it a buck. Is no high-level free agent is going to ever choose to go to Orlando, which is surprising to me because A, there's no state income tax in Florida, right? So your money's going to go a long way. B, they say it's a small market, bro. A small market with Disney World and Universal Studios in the backyard. Hey, and C, there's no pressure to play in Orlando. Like, there's no pressure. Like you bro, Dwight Howard brought them boys to the NBA Finals, and that was a crowning achievement. They lost to Kobe Bryant. You can't be mad about that. And then Shaq, when he got them to the NBA Finals, they lost to Hakeem Olajuwon. You can't be mad about that. Like, they got to the finals twice and ran into top 10 players. Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
And they put together well-constructed rosters at that as well. So, with deep benches. So
really quickly, do you know who Paolo Banchero's comp is?
Who?
Julius Randle. I looked it up, and I saw him like, yeah, he's not a center, but he's big. He has big body, right? But he has like handle. Julius Randle has a handle. Like, to me, I could see a Julius Randle, but I see like a Tobias Harris, maybe because he's light skinned. I see like a Tobias Harris in a kind of player.
No, I after what I saw in that stretch for the in the tournament, like, he played very good basketball, and for a guy that big to handle the ball and make big plays and shoot corner threes. I was like, okay, that's
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle.
Yeah.
But with free agency coming along too, we've got so many rumors going along. We've got, obviously, we just touched on the John Wall one, but we got Bradley Beal saying his decision's made up, and now he's got like these sketchy tweets of like, uh-oh. And then you got, who else is linked?
Kyrie. All right. So
Kyrie, split it down.
I wrote down some names, right? So we already know Christian Wood got traded. Jeremy Grant got traded today to the Blazers. And I was talking about it in one of my group chats. The Blazers, if they still had the team they had last year with Jeremy Grant, they would have had Norman Powell, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Jeremy Grant, Anthony Simmons, Nurkic. Like, that's a pretty damn decent roster. So to me, and Robert Covington, like, they could have made something with that, but now they have their Norman Powell, but yeah, now they're kind of like in a rebuild mode, so it's kind of weird. I thought Jeremy Grant would go to a contender now, but we'll see. Kyrie Irving somehow is available, which somehow could lead to Durant being available.
Yeah, he has to opt in by, when is it? Tomorrow, right?
I don't even know the exact date, but somehow the Lakers have emerged as a favorite to get him. I don't see how that's going to happen, but we'll see. Yeah. We talked about John Wall, Bradley Beal, DeAndre Ayton. They haven't talked about him in a couple months because of the playoffs, but he did not get that extension.
Now that Jeremy Grant is gone, the Pistons are going to be all over that.
Right. James Harden. There's a lot of who else? There's a couple more that I'm thinking of, but Marvin Bagley. There's a few. There's talent that could be available this summer, and
there's trade chips too.
Can we? All right. Let's just talk about this Kyrie thing. So, really quickly, I didn't think because he was talking about us and we're going to figure out this front office situation, blah blah blah. But I don't know if it's real or not. But they don't see a we with him. Like, they don't. Because if you think about it, he did ruin their season.
He did. I told you.
He single-handedly ruined their season. So it's like, all right, we probably don't want him anymore. We might want to go a different direction. But what's that direction? Like, you really think, because I heard the Knicks, your team.
Well, not even that.
The Knicks, the Lakers, and the Clippers are the three teams to look at. Do you think it's possible that he doesn't just sign a short-term deal with like a 1-and-1 with Brooklyn, or do you think he actually walks? And what do you think he goes?
Bro, Kyrie, it's up in the air. He could probably go back to Boston. You never know. Like, he could literally go to Boston or some crazy.
That'd be a good fit. All right, what if he wasn't Nick? Because I know how you feel about him, but what if he wasn't Nick?
It would be a bad move. I don't trust.
It's possible too. You know that, right?
I don't trust him. It is possible. I think the Knicks heading in the right path. I think they got good veterans. Kyrie's just not a good veteran. Respect his game. I don't want him to come mess up this locker room. If the Nets don't even trust you, if that's the
locker room,
shut up, okay?
Well, who do you have there that's like? There's one player that Knicks fans refuse to deal anything with. They said RJ Barrett is untouchable. Outside of that, what else is in the locker room?
Listen, I like the team that's there. It's just, I don't want to get on the Knicks. All I'm saying is, like, Kyrie is not the fit there. I think if we can go get Jalen Brunson, that's what I'd be more appeased to, is getting that.
Donovan Mitchell.
Keep it young. Keep it a guy who's not being valued enough, unless, Mark Cuban is like, fuck that. He's not going anywhere, which I could see happening. But that would be the kind of guy that I'm targeting. When you're going after Kyrie, you're going for a name. You're going for, his legacy, which is a great legacy. You're going for all these good things. However, he's just a headache. We'd have so many Kyrie segments on this show, and they're all headache things. They're not like, Kyrie's such a great humanitarian. Kyrie is this. Kyrie is literally like not a PR nightmare. He's just not trustworthy. He's not trustworthy. And you even said it. Like, the Nets don't trust him. And he single-handedly ruined their season.
When you actually peel back the layers,
you do. He did.
It's his fault.
He single-handedly ruined an NBA season for a franchise. And that's not what I want on the team. There's too much distraction there. And it's hard enough having Julius Randle let the fans get in his head. Like, that's enough for me. Why would I want Kyrie there saying, yo, just flick him off, man?
Another mentally not as strong player. Yeah.
Don't need that. I like, trust me, if that's the route they go, I'll ride the wave, but I know that's not what I would want for my
buy
team.
A jersey?
I wouldn't buy a Kyrie jersey. I would
not. What
not.
if he wins your playoff series?
Maybe.
Ooh. Oh, I want to see this happen now.
Kyrie would not be. And even at that, like Kyrie said, yo, fuck the Knicks. I never liked them, blah, blah, blah. That's why we went to Brooklyn. Like, that's not the kind of shit I want. Don't talk shit about us and then sign with us in the season. Like, Kyrie's just off his rocker, man. He's cuckoo. He's
All
just
right. All right. Let's say the Knicks doesn't happen. So I'm looking at how the Lakers situation could happen. He would have to turn down his opt-in, whatever, which is going to make him almost $40 million. 30, I think it was 37 million, something like that. He would have to take a $6 million taxpayer exemption to sign with the Lakers. That is a significant money decrease, right? Or they can try to figure out a trade with Brooklyn, but that would have to mean AD or Westbrook are going to go to Brooklyn, right? And in what world would Brooklyn be willing to take on a Russell Westbrook over a Kyrie Irving after what we just saw happen with Russell Westbrook this year? And obviously, what does that mean for Kevin Durant? Because Kevin Durant obviously left Russell Westbrook before in the past, and there's obviously a reason why he did that. So I don't see how it could happen with Kyrie, but let's play NBA 2K right now, right? If Kyrie Irving was a Laker with AD and LeBron, I don't know what the other pieces could happen, but if Kyrie Irving was a Laker with AD, obviously we know his injury history, and LeBron, who's in year 20, what do you think? How do you think that's going to look?
Scary. I think it'll look scary, but it's also questionable because you've got Kyrie, who we just told you about. He's a big fucking what if. He's not trustworthy. And then you've got Anthony Davis, who's Mr. Glass. Like, is he healthy? Is he not? You want to go on TV and say you haven't shot a ball in like 2 years or whatever the fuck it is, or since
August? He's working out with Lethal Shooter now, so that's all forgiven.
Whatever, man. Like, that's something you shouldn't probably say that's being recorded and put on.
But that's the thing. When you're on a podcast, I've realized when these athletes, rappers, entertainers, whatever, are on a podcast, they're a lot more free to just say what the hell they want because it's not reporters with microphones and cameras in their face. They're just kind of chilling with the home. I mean, think about it. Tyreek Hill, out of his damn mouth, said that he'd take Tua over Patrick Mahomes. Like, come on. So clearly, when you're on a podcast, you're just gonna say what the hell you feel like saying. Oh, maybe he hasn't shot a ball since April 5th. Maybe he has. I don't know, but hey.
but it just doesn't, like, I don't know. Like, when if I was playing GM, I would want guys like, and it's a dime a dozen, that are smart, that say the right things, that aren't doing stupid shit. And if you are doing stupid shit, we can call with your pants down. Don't be this Deshaun Watson type shit. Don't be doing dumb shit that everyone's going to find out and know about. Like, it's hard to say that. But like Kyrie, oh my God, it's like, where do you draw the line between his thoughts and the way he manages his time to the way he plays the game and when he's in the game? Because you don't know where there's going to be. How many days will Kyrie be off? Like, you know, there's Earth Day, and I'm all about Earth Day, and I have to take that day off because
you be hearing what your boy Stephen A said.
I did not even watch First Take.
No. I've not recently. I'm talking about in the past. He was like, when the Capitol shit happened on January 6th, he was convinced that Kyrie was going to take off work because he was so traumatized about the Capitol riots. Shout out to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've already scored a goal within the first minute and 10 seconds. Let's go. All right, continue.
That's the thing. Kyrie is a headache. So the Lakers, on paper, once again, we said it last year with the team that they constructed, could do it. However,
the rest of that's the thing. The rest of that roster was old as shit.
It was. However, this year, I think they know what needs to get done. They got to get youthful. Kendrick Nunn apparently was hurt last year, I was reading. So,
you don't remember that? I've been saying, I was saying it all year. I'm like, yo, Kendrick Nunn hasn't even played. Think about it. The Lakers,
him on purpose,
yeah,
but he put into his contract.
The Lakers' big three only played 21 games together. Like, come on, like that's why everyone's been talking all this shit. I'm like, bro, they haven't even played it. They played a quarter of the season together, and then it wasn't like continuing. It wasn't in a row. It was okay, week 1, week 10, and then week 18. Like they were never gonna get that shit figured out. So that's why, like, that was one of those situations in which I was like, whatever. It was doomed. It was doomed from the start. But to me, Kyrie, who has been hearing his name get drugged through the mud over the last how many months now. LeBron, old ass, like wants another wing now that Steph Curry's tied him. And then AD, he's been talking about his injuries for the last year, and he's gonna get hurt by tweeting, he's gonna get hurt by this and hurt by that. I think they're all gonna have something to prove. So if they were to get a Kyrie, it would be scary hours. It would be scary hours. But A, how reliable is Kyrie going to show up to work? And B, what kind of bench can they put together? Because what we've noticed is that these super teams don't really work anymore. Like Steph Curry and them, it wasn't a super team, but they got superstar players. Boston made it to the finals, wasn't a super team, but they have superstar players. To me, trying to build this big three shit it's hard to do. So
it's getting the right big three, though, not just like the 3 top scorers and putting them on a team.
Yeah.
Guys that are going to play well. Like if the Lakers go get Bradley Beal, I feel like that would be the perfect piece for them and get a serviceable point. If they get Brogdon and Bradley Beal, that would be perfect.
But how? Where's the money? Where are the trade assets? To me, the Lakers are doomed. Like they're doomed right now.
Football, the salary cap is a myth. So I don't know. In LA,
Jeannie Buss was not willing to go into luxury tax last year to go get John Wall and Christian Wood for Russell Westbrook. She wasn't willing to go into the luxury tax to get John Wall and Christian Wood. To me, that would have probably been the answer that they needed. So clearly, the salary cap exists to some people. So
I agree, but I'm just playing like if they could get, that would be a good.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, Zach LaVine's available. That'd be great for them too.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think like what would we're getting off topic once again with this, but like there's so many free agents.
It's free agency. It's not off topic. We're on the same path. Yeah.
Even at that, a lot of teams are trying to free up cap space. Like Indiana's having a fire sale. They're having a fire sale.
We're talking about freeing up cap space. The dumbass. Yo, I'm on the verge with the Sixers. I'm on the verge of just abandoning. I don't know how you haven't abandoned the Knicks yet. With your front office woes, our front office is trash. They showed on I think Bleacher Report the last 8 years of first top 3 picks, and we drafted Jahlil Okafor. We drafted Markelle Fultz over Jason Tatum. We drafted Ben Simmons over Jalen. We've screwed up the draft, right? And on top of the fact that we're clearing up cap room, we're clearing up $30 million of cap room to go try to go get PJ Tucker. Like, are you kidding me? We given $35 million a year to Tobias Harris. We gave up Seth Curry to go get James Harden, and the reason why we gave up Seth Curry is because we didn't want to give up Matisse Thybulle. Now they're willing to trade away Matisse Thybulle to go get PJ Tucker. Like, it does not make sense. And if I'm Joel Embiid, unless we're getting Bradley Beal, or y'all gonna get me Jimmy Butler back, or y'all gonna get me something, I'm on the phone with my agent like, yo, we gotta get the hell out of here, bro, because this is not. And then Michael Rubin sold his share today, and now we're not gonna have Meek Mill and Robert Kraft and Gucci Mane at the games no more. Like, I don't know, man. This Sixers situation. They've been screwing with my life for the last 20 years. Like, we made it to the NBA Finals with Iverson back in 2001, and it's been downhill since. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's your legacy, and it's tough. But I mean, yeah, I don't get that move. Like, you want to trade one defensive player for another one just because he's been to the finals. Like, I get that. Don't get me wrong. And
$10 million a year.
And it's not like PJ Tucker's been to a bunch of finals. He's been to what, one?
Yeah, one. And you know what the problem? No, two. No, one. But you know what the problem is? When it was when he took over, I knew it was going to be an issue. It was Daryl Morey, his analytics bullshit. Like he's trying to build Houston and Philly. Like he's in love with James Harden. I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to go get Russell Westbrook. But I don't think Russ and B really get along. But he's trying to go get PJ Tucker like he had. He loves James Harden, who's willing to sign a short-term deal to stay with Philly. I don't know, man. It doesn't smell right. It doesn't look right. I don't know what direction that we decide to go in, but if we're clearing up all this cap space for PJ Tucker, bro, we have an issue.
If I can tell you one, like the cap space you got to clear up is getting rid of fucking Tobias Harris. That's the cap space you got to get rid of.
That should have been common sense a year ago.
That's a no-brainer right there.
Over Jimmy Butler. Oh, I'll never get over that.
All I can say is, like, look at my Yankees. I didn't trust what they were doing in the offseason, and look at them now. So you never know. Things can work out.
Yeah, but the Yankees have a history of good baseball. We haven't won shit since 1983. Okay, it's been 40 years.
Yeah. So who else in free agency can we dog down a bit?
Well, I mean, John Wall and Bradley Beal. I mean, I heard a rumor. I mean, they talked about Bradley Beal interested in Boston back in January. I know the Sixers were interested in Bradley Beal. I don't know what he's trying to do with his money situation, but Bradley Beal, to anywhere he goes, would be the missing piece for somebody, and that's what he should be thinking about right now. Like, let me go be somebody's missing piece.
Could you imagine him on Portland
with Dame? Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Grant.
I mean, so I'm trying to think, like, what life can he change, right? Like, it would make an instant impact. Portland, to me, is a little bit of ways. Philly is close. Miami is close. Boston is close. Like, teams like that are really Brooklyn. For what it's worth, if they lose Kyrie, shit, Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, that's a dangerous duo right there. With Ben Simmons running point, that would be dangerous. So to me, I wouldn't be looking at a rebuilding situation by Bradley Beal because I've been on a rebuilding situation my whole career. I'd be looking at where can I go to change somebody's life because I'm ready to go win a championship. Because, I mean, what year is this for Bradley Beal? Is like year 5 or 6 now? Like, he's getting a little, he's not old, but he's in his prime and he needs to be like, all right, I'm ready to go explore my options. Let's see. Bradley Beal he's 28, so he's in his prime. Yeah, he's 28 is your prime in the NBA. He's been in the league since 2012. He's been in the league for 10 years. Holy shit.
Man.
Holy shit. Bradley Beal's been in the league for 10 years? That's crazy. But he's from St. Louis. Jason Tatum's from St. Louis. I heard they were really close. I heard that might be a thing. So we're going to see. That's per my source, Nick Cullen.
I mean, we've been talking about that for a while. We
talked about it in January. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that would be a good get for them. I don't know. John Wall's a real tricky one, though, where John Wall could end up because, like, there's a lot of what ifs there. And, like, he didn't play last season not because he was hurt, because they didn't want to play him. And it's your body. It's your choice. Obviously, your body is going to be what's people are paying for in the NBA. So, fuck it. Sit down and get paid.
The Rockets are a pretty shitty organization if you think about it.
All Houston teams pretty much are.
Yeah, when you saw how they did with Melo, they ousted him. He was out of the league because of the Rockets. You saw it. I mean, James Harden was like, bro, he showed up fat. Like, I don't want to be here no more. Tracy McGrady never really got the help that he needed. John Wall, it was healthy last year, and they refused to play him. Like they don't. I don't know, man. If I'm any player right now of veteran caliber, get me the hell out of there. I heard what's his name is available now. The 3-point shooter, Eric Gordon. He might be a contender. He might be on a contending team next year. That situation in Houston is weird, man. It's weird.
It is, and the crazy part is the Rockets somehow always string together to put together a team very, very quick too, which is always crazy.
Because Because they got, think about it. In the last 20 years, they got Tracy McGrady to leave Orlando to go to Houston. They got James Harden to leave OKC to come to Houston. They just need somebody who's dumb enough to leave their situation to go to Houston. That's what it is right now.
Well, free agency is kicking off and soon, and it's going to be fun. And draft is tomorrow, so it's going to be like, could you see like a big name player moved in the draft, like for a draft pick?
When's the last time a big name player moved during the draft? I'm trying to remember.
I remember Elton Brand one. Remember when Elton Brand was?
I'm not talking about 20 years ago. I'm talking about in the last decade.
That's what that came to my head, though. I'm not
Elton Brand.
On my
I'm
head.
talking about Elton Brand.
That was fucking great finesse. It was back-to-back picks for the Bulls.
Yeah. It's I don't know. We don't really see too many big names move around during the draft, but it's possible. We're gonna see. If I had to guess, I'm looking at the draft order right now, like to see who would be like, all right, this team might trade down or trade up or something like that. Nobody really stands out and be like, okay, yeah, this is going to be the team that makes that jump. So yeah, quite frankly, probably not during the draft, but once free agency starts, then I think we'll probably see some. Indiana, like you said, is a fire sale, so we're gonna see some movement from Indiana for sure. New Orleans, no, I don't think so. The Knicks, I don't think y'all gonna do anything. Yeah, I don't really see. I'm curious to see what happens with Cleveland because I know, what's his name, Sexton. He could be on the wait. Which is the one that was hurt last year? Was it Sexton? Yeah, he could be on the move. But outside of that, I don't really see anything too crazy happening from a trade standpoint. But what I do like about the draft right now is that there's a lot of G League players that are getting drafted. To me, if you're looking at sleepers, all these G League players, they come to the league already kind of ready because they played in a quote unquote professional setting. So they do the travel and all that shit. So a lot of these G League players are going to be, to me, that's going to be like where they get drafted is going to be an interesting thing. And then that dude from what's his name that didn't play for Kentucky, Sharp, Shadon Sharp. He didn't play at all. He was a number one kid out of high school last year. Didn't play a lick of basketball for Kentucky, and he's already still considered a top 10 pick. So I think there's going to be some players that get picked not in the top 3. They're like, damn. 5 years from now, I'm like, damn, that dude was a dog. So yeah, it's going to be to me that's going to be more of the draft is the dudes that get drafted, not those big 3 that get drafted, but the dude that get drafted after that, like Ivy and stuff like that. And you realize 5 years from now, yeah, that dude was a dog.
All right, so let's talk NFL. Mr. Gronkowski decides to retire, hang it up. I'm really not buying it. To be honest, it's probably, and I think you might have said it's the makings of the greatest TV show we might get on Sundays with Brady in the booth and Gronk on the field. So
that'd be sick.
Are you buying it that he's really retired or no?
So when he retired the first time, he only came back because Tom Brady begged his ass to come back, right? And he was not trying to go back to New England no more because of how Bill Belichick runs that shit. And he's a fun guy, and he's not trying. He wasn't trying to be in that system no more. He got that Florida sun, blase. He won a championship, but he got hurt again last year. He got hurt, banged up. I think he broke his ribs or something like that. And the reason why he retired the first time because his body kept getting hurt. He's missed 50 games in his NFL career, 50, right? So I don't think physically he's wants to do this anymore. I think physically he was done years ago, and now the mental is finally caught up. So do I think he's done? Yeah, I think so. I mean, the Bucs drafted a couple of tight ends in this past draft. They got what was it, Cotton or Otten, whatever his name is. I think he's ready to just like, bro, I'm tired of getting hurt because he's so damn good and big that the only way to tackle him is to illegally tackle him or hit him in a place that you that you know is going to hurt him. That's the only way to bring his big ass down. So I think he's seen enough of that, of these damn injuries. And like, bro, I'm chilling, bro. I'm done. I've won 4 championships. I'm a Hall of Famer in 5 years, no matter what. I have nothing else to prove. Like, he's not built like Tom Brady. Tom Brady is, I think Tom Brady's made it weird because, like, he's the only player that's extended his career longer than he needed to. Normally, we see a lot of players not do that. I mean, Andrew Luck is not an NFL player anymore. Patrick Willis, like a lot of these players, like, I'm good. 30 years old, 31, I'm good. Todd Gurley's not in the league no more, but that's because his body broke down. Gronk's body is broke down, and I don't think he has that same drive that Tom Brady has to go work out, do all his meetings and shit. We can go on WWE and go be funny. He could be a guest host for the Oscars. Like, no matter what Gronk wants to do next, he's going to get paid a lot of money to do it. Think about it. Tom Brady's got $35 million a year, and he's not even done to go do call games for Fox. You don't think there's a network that's willing to give Gronk buku dollars to go do whatever the hell? You know what I mean? So I think physically it just doesn't make sense for him to continue on. The only thing that he hasn't done is that he didn't crack 10,000 receiving yards. He's 800 away from that, but outside of that, yeah, there's nothing for him to come back to, in my opinion.
I agree, but also didn't we see it last year where he came like later into he didn't know the playbook. He came later after practice or whatever. So skip all the mini camp, skip all the training. It all depends on how the offense is going to be clicking. That's what it's going to come down to.
What does that have to do with Gronk though? Like, he don't care how they're clicking. I think Buddy really just dead ass wants to go chill.
Brady have like a great bromance going on. And what you say, he didn't crack 10,000 yards. Brady could say, I can get you that.
Well, if he comes back in week 8, he can't get 800 yards in.
We'll come back week 8. I say week 3 or 4, he'll be back.
Oh, nah. Week 3 or 4? Without lifting no weights, not running no track, not doing nothing? Even if he came back week 3 or 4, he wouldn't be Gronk again until like week 10.
We'll see. I don't know.
Bro, football is such a grueling sport. And when you play the position that Gronk plays, like, bro, he gets hit. He actually is a good blocker, too. So he's dealing with offensive linemen all game, and then he's got to go get hit after he catches the ball. Like, they ask too much of Gronk, and I think Gronk is like, bro, give me $20 million, I'll come back. Outside of that, there's nothing for him to come back to.
I mean, I agree, but I just feel like he's the big dumb animal that'll definitely be like, yeah, let's do it. Let's run it back after like 4 and be like, let's do this shit.
I don't know, man. I think mentally he's just checked out.
I told you, he's one like injury away from being paralyzed from back surgery.
That's the problem. Like, is it really worth it? Like, what more do you need? You have 4 titles, all pros. You're a Hall of Famer no matter what. And the position that you play, you're not a quarterback. So there's no protection for you. You're going to get your ass beat if you play tight end in the NFL, especially the caliber of tight end that he plays. He's not no Jason. He's not a Travis Kelce, who's honestly just a receiver. He's not like an Antonio Gates, who's like a receiver. He's a blocking tight end, and he goes out there and go catch his passes. Like, that's bro. That's a lot.
I agree, but once again, this Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski tandem, like, I'm never surprised by anything. Like, everybody was like, "Oh, we even said Tom Brady's done; he's got nothing to play for." And then 40 days in, he's like,
but those rumors with him coming back was already coming out like 72 hours later. Gronk, I don't know. We're skeptical because it's Tom, and Tom could convince him to go jump off a cliff probably, but his body is banged up.
Tom is a snake oil salesman, bro. He gets you with anything that he wants, man. Tom just has that. He got mind control over Debo, man.
Yes, sir. I'll come back.
Exactly. Yes, sir. May I have another? Thank you.
All right. So from a legacy standpoint, because we did it with Steph and all that stuff. Gronk, where are we ranking him all time tight ends?
Man, he's got to be the best.
Shannon Sharp said he's the greatest he's ever seen.
I would have to agree. He has to be the best.
Over Tony Gonzalez?
Tony Gonzalez had that until Gronk entered the league. How many ships does Tony Gonzalez have?
Yeah, but tight end is a dependent position.
How many all pros does Gonzalez have compared to Gronk?
Ooh, see, that's a better question. So I know Gronk. All right, I got Gronk stuff written down. Gronk, 4-time champion, 4-time All-Pro, 2010 All-Decade team, most receiving touchdowns in the season by a tight end, most postseason touchdowns by a tight end, but he's also missed 50 games to injury. The amount of stats that Gronk has, even with missing 50 games, like I got this list pulled up and it's crazy. So
and it's more
Gronk played 143 games and has 9,286 yards and 92 touchdowns. Tony Gonzalez played 130 more games than him, has 6,000 more yards and 111 touchdowns. So, like, if you do the math, if Gronk would have played 270 games, he would blow every tight end record out the wall, out the book, no matter what. But as far as Tony Gonzalez, when we look at his, because to me, in my lifetime, Tony Gonzalez was like
oh yeah, he was
like, when I was a kid, I wanted to play. When I decided I wanted to finally play football, I wanted to play tight end. I wanted to be Tony Gonzalez. Let's see. So his accolades: 6-time all team for all set, 6-time first team All Pro compared to 4 for Gronk. 4-time second team All Pro. Gronk doesn't have no second team, just those 4 first teams. So he has 10 All Pros, Tony Gonzalez, 14 Pro Bowls. He was a reception leader in 2004. He was also on an all-decade team. He was also on the 100th anniversary all-time team, just like Gronk. So if Tony Gonzalez played for a championship organization, I think, to me, it wouldn't be a debate. I think Tony Gonzalez is the greatest tight end I've ever seen. But
I agree.
I can definitely make a case for Gronk, because Gronk, in his small window, even with all the games, he's, to me, Gronk is like Shaq, the most dominant tight end I've ever seen. But pure tight end I've personally seen is like it's Tony Gonzalez for me. If he doesn't have the championships to back it up, so that's obviously going to knock that debate a little bit. But 10-time All Pro, 6 of them first team. Hard to do that.
It is. We could do it 1A, 1B. We could do that.
I'm willing. You gotta do that for Jordan and LeBron, so I'm willing to do that for Gronk and Tony. But then, how's Antonio Gates and Shannon Sharp supposed to feel?
It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Antonio Gates got no rings either.
But Antonio Gates got the most touchdowns out of that whole group.
He does.
And then Shannon Sharp played in an era where they were running the ball a lot. He has similar stat. Well, the touchdowns not as high, and he has 3 championships. 2 with one organization, 1 with Baltimore.
How does Kareem feel?
What?
How does Kareem feel when people say Jordan and LeBron are the best? He has more points than.
Well, there's a lot of people who pick Kareem still too, believe it or not. But
yeah, there is, but like if you.
But yeah, I feel you. I feel you. No. I definitely feel you, because like because like people think that I'm an anti-Jordan person because I'm a LeBron fan. I was a Jordan person before all of this stuff. But I know how to make an argument for all of these players. Like I can make an argument for Bill Russell. He has 11 rings. I can make an argument for Kareem, 6 championships, just like Jordan, and the all-time leading scorer. So I can make an argument for all these people. But so yeah, I can see the argument for Shannon Sharp and Antonio Gates and everything. Even Jason Witten, if you want to consider him a great tight end. He's number 2 in yards. He had a great career too. But to me, I would go Gonzalez and Gronk 1A, 1B. But Travis is on his way. But yeah, I got those 2, 1A and 1B.
I would put it the same. I mean, but how competitive was the tight end market when Tony Gonzalez was playing around? He had Shannon Sharp, and who else was there?
Antonio Gates played during this time. Greg Olsen, Jimmy Graham played in the beginning, the end of his. Vernon Davis.
Like Antonio Gates was a little bit towards the
Jeremy
end.
Shockey, Benjamin Watson. There was tight ends.
Mm.
There was definitely. Tony Gonzalez had a long ass career.
He did.
Who else was out there? Todd Heap, Dallas Clark. There were some tight ends. but there was no tight end like Tony Gonzalez during his era. Like there was none. Like I mean, bro, 15,000 yards, 1,325 catches, 111 touchdowns. He even has 14 rushing yards. Like they, I don't know, man. Tony was different for me. I was a huge fan of Tony Gonzalez.
I was too, and it just sucks that Chiefs team was just really, really bad when he played.
Even the Atlanta teams, like they were decent, but they just couldn't get him over the top.
Wasn't he on the one that went to the? Was he on the team that went to the?
Nah, he was gone by then.
By then?
Yeah, he was gone by then.
Yeah. Oh well, but I would put it 1A, 1B, and then there's just a lot of guys that have a lot of. Okay, if we do like they all have a seat at the table. It's like a lot of guys have a seat at the table, but who are like sitting at the ends of the table is going to be Gronk and Tony Gonzalez to me, because I always said Tony Gonzalez was the best tight end until I watched Gronk play. And then the crazy thing is, me and one of my old coworkers were always going back. Like if Gronk didn't get hurt, he could probably be one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah,
like
there wouldn't be a debate. Honestly, Gronk never got hurt. But again, the style of football that he plays allows him to get hurt. But if he didn't play that style of football and could have stayed healthy, bro, he missed 50 games in his career. He played, like I said, he played 143 career games, and Gonzalez played 270. Could you imagine he played 270 games, the record? He would have broke every record by a mile. So, yeah, you got to give it to Gronk to be in that conversation more so than a lot of the other guys that I mentioned, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree with that 100%.
All right, so if you had to put money on the line, you think Gronk comes back? Yes or no? Money on the line. Gun to your head and money on the line. Gronk comes back? Yes or no?
He's coming back.
I'm gonna say nah, bro. I'm gonna say he's gonna be on Amazon Prime doing Thursday Night Football coming soon. That's my guess.
Dude, I'm saying he's coming back.
Bro, Amazon Prime might get that dude a bag. Watch.
unless they give him a bag.
Oh, bag. Super bag.
Bag, no, but like all I can say is Buccaneers fans have not been let down since the Tom Brady era has been there. They've gotten
they talk about Gronk like they had him for 20 years, bro. You had him for 2 years. Relax.
You saw the tweet. Like he's been there his entire career.
Calm down. Y'all act like he's a lifer. Like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss him so much. Oh, I'm like, okay, bro. He was there for 2 years. Relax.
Right. All right, so let's start wrapping up the show. So for our fun segment, we're gonna do we're going to talk about an intriguing sports topic to each of us as we close out season 3 of the Fairweather podcast. So if I'm a betting man, I'm going first on this, correct?
Be my guest.
All right. So
you won the bet. You should go to Vegas with me.
Exactly. Let's do it. All right. So we don't talk a lot of baseball, but the one thing that's been on my mind going into this is Aaron Judge is not signed and is playing amazing baseball.
Yo,
tomorrow is arbitration hearing for Aaron Judge to see if he is owed $21 million as he is deserved.
Yeah.
And the last player to win arbitration against the Yankees was Dylan Betances. So they are going to see if he is worth that money. And if he does, he'll get that for 1 year, and then we'll see what happens. But the underlining thing about all of this is Judge has said that if a deal is not done before the season, I don't want to talk about it.
Yep.
Now, anything can happen. They could put out a new deal, and everything could, because Severino was supposed to go, and they gave him a $40 million extension, and everything went away for arbitration. So something could happen tomorrow. We don't know. I'm thinking that it's not going to happen. I think that the Yankees are going to lose, and they're going to have to pay him that money, because when you look at all of the stuff that this guy has done, he's done everything but win an MVP that he should have won one, but they gave it to Altuve, who also cheated that year, and hasn't won a World Series, but has been the most productive Yankee that they've had on the team.
And it looks good.
He's looking amazing right now. He's on pace to hit like 100 homers right now. So it's insane to think that he's going to arbitration and he hasn't gotten a contract. and a team could take him away. Like I saw ESPN, and I don't, by all means, I don't trust anything ESPN, and like their writers are like the dumbest people in the world, except for Buster Olney. I like Buster Olney.
Buster is he's like that. Yeah, he is that. Yeah.
But they were saying like all the teams that could go out and make a run for him.
San Francisco, he's from there.
San Francisco could be one, and he's from California, and they even put the Red Sox in there too as a big spike.
That. Yeah.
No. I was like, nah, man. But San Francisco does put the most threat out there. But this is the golden goose. You cannot let the golden goose go. And if the Yankees drop the bag here, like I will never forgive this organization. I'm sorry.
That would be really bad.
This would be really bad. Like when they lost Cano, I was very upset because there was no reason you should have lost Cano. He just won a World Series and then you let him go.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he just wanted to grow facial hair, so like he left. So that's my intriguing story of what's going to happen tomorrow. They interviewed Judge. He just said, I'm going to show up in a nice suit and tie and let him handle it. Like he's not looking forward to it because he doesn't want to be distracted because he's obviously having a good year. And hopefully something is worked out. Hopefully Cashman's saying something that we don't know about, saying like, listen, man, we're going to go to arbitration. We're going to lose. However, we're going to have a nice fat check. And I want to agree with this after this call, type of thing, where it's not drug out and nobody knows about it. And then at the end of the year, boom, there it is. So I don't know what's going to happen. And I really don't know where Aaron Judge's head is at as well. Because he says one thing, but when money is thrown there, like maybe you could. I just don't want to get thrown off his game because he did just homer tonight. They are losing right now, but like they're playing amazing baseball, and I am happy for it. So that's my sports topic. I'm curious to hear about yours.
I thought about going a lot of different ways for this one because, the whole Deshaun Watson thing is just crazy. The Daniel Snyder thing is not getting talked about enough because
absolutely not.
His shit's been going on for years.
That's subpoenaed by the fucking Supreme Court.
Bruh, it's that serious. They talk about the way they talk about Deshaun Watson and not talk about Daniel Snyder. My brothers, you got to be the rich white billionaire. You get away with whatever you want. But I'm gonna get away from that. And it's a sport that people don't talk about a lot, but it's starting to get a little bit of energy. There's this whole PGA and LIV thing with golf. I don't know why Brett. I look at it from an angle where if during the NBA season, remember Kyrie Irving was talking about we should start our own league or whatever during like 2020. If there was another league of basketball that started, the NBA, like the best NBA players, like I'm gonna go play for that league. Like remember they used to have the ABA and the NBA, right? And then eventually they had to be like, all right, we just have to just merge this thing and call it a day, right? That is happening in golf, and it's because, like, think about it. Phil Mickelson, one of the greatest golfers of all time, was like the first big name that we knew was going to the LIV, Saudi Arabia back league. And since then, they've got Brooks Koepka, they've got Bryson DeChambeau, they got Patrick Reed, they got Dustin Johnson. They got some dogs that's going to that league, and the only reason why is because of money. And they're willing to pay a lot more money. And the PGA, you got so much backlash from some of these guys, and it's like, I'm not gonna agree with anybody playing for that league where it's Saudi Arabia. You know how at the end of the day it's gonna be religion, politics, and all that stuff. They kidnap people, they do this, and nobody's perfect. Okay, like we got to get past this whole mindset where like everyone thinks that their country is perfect and they have no skeletons in their closet. Everyone has skeletons, and this whole PGA is like they act like they don't have skeletons, bro. The USA has a connaissance of skeletons in our closet. So for these guys to go like, look, I'm gonna get paid in the LIV tournament instead, kudos to them. But the PGA is gonna have to try to figure something out here because
it's whack.
They have to. I don't know if they have to merge with them, but like the LIV, like they could have done their season, like how the USFL and the AFL and all these other football leagues know not to compete with the NFL. This LIV had the balls, like we don't give a damn. We're gonna compete with the PGA head on, and they're losing a lot of great talent to that league. And Now they're gonna start seeing the kind of bags that they get over in the Saudi Arabian League, bro. It's only a matter of time before we get another huge name go over there, and it's like, all right, bro, we gotta do, if you can't beat them, join the kind of situation. So I'm very curious to see how this goes, because I mean, this is like a pivotal part of where we're at in society from a sports mentality, because as so like the NBA had to do the thing with the ABA, the NFL went on a strike, and everyone went to the USFL, and then something had to happen there. The NCAA is headed towards that right now. We're gonna have super conferences, and I think at some point we're gonna have like a soccer. Remember, like we talked about the soccer thing last year. Remember they tried to create a super league in soccer. Like these things are happening, and I think instead of trying to fight it, we got to everyone's got to kind of figure a way to challenge this head on, and like, look, because it's not a joke. It's not a joke. Money runs everything in this world, and they got money over in this LIV tournament and LIV league or whatever, and they're gonna take all the PGA players. And what we know about golf is going to change in a couple of years, and I don't think we're ready to have that conversation. That's why they don't talk about it as much as they should, because this is a huge. But can you imagine the NFL going through this right now? Like, there's another league that I can actually challenge the NFL. That'd be the craziest thing ever, and it's happening right now in golf. And I'm very, very intrigued to see how this goes, because we're about to take a little hiatus on the show, and we're not going to be able to talk about this for the next couple of weeks. But the next time that we're on for season 4, I'm very curious to see how the landscape of golf looks. It's gonna be crazy. So yeah, it's crazy stuff going on in the sports world. I mean, think about in college, the NIL thing, it's changing everything. And we're seeing it in college football, we're seeing it in Europe soccer, we're seeing it all over the place. So big things are happening.
Sports is a form of life. It finds a way. Like it evolves. Everything evolves, and eventually things are gonna have to. All good things are going to have to come to an end. So, I mean, it is what it is. Golf is boring as shit. Like, the only people who get up and watch that are, excuse if you're my listeners and this is you, like old men, and they're kids that have just like followed their daddies that love golf. Basically,
if Tiger Woods is playing, I get up to watch golf.
I would watch Tiger too.
Outside of that, I mean, when Tiger Woods plays, I'm watching all 4 rounds. When Tiger's not playing, I watched the last round, the last 9 holes. It's literally that simple.
I'd rather, I don't know, man. Like, I remember, I don't know. I'm not going to get into that, but it's definitely interesting to see that, because we've seen it in the past. Like in the 80s, there was numerous like football leagues that were trying to start up, and they all came crashing.
Well, the USFL almost made it. They almost really made it too, which is crazy. Because they had Herschel Walker. They had really good players that decided, fuck, I'm gonna go to USFL. So, and that's what's happening literally right now in golf. So, I mean, Phil Mickelson, Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson. We're talking about people who won PGA championships and tours and all that stuff. So, majors and all that stuff. It's Bryson DeChambeau. It's some scary stuff if you're a PGA guy.
You think it's also like players just saying like this league is corrupt and we want something different?
Bro, they get paid way more in this LIV league. Like in golf, if you finish last place, you're not getting any money. In this LIV thing, you finish last place, you get in a bag still. You still go get a bag finishing the last place. And it's only 3 rounds instead of 4. Like the rules are just a little bit different. And at the end of the day, yes, we all want to, we're professional athletes. We all want to play for the love of the game, but it's a business. At the end of the day, I'm trying to feed my family and try to create some kind of generational wealth so that my kids can live off of this talent that I had in 2022. So if I go get more bread, I get more bread go playing in this league for a couple of years, like, bro, I'm good. Like, it's, especially if you've been in the PGA for so long. Bro, like this, I heard there was a story like the guy who's made more money already doing the LIV thing than the last few years that he did in PGA. And it's only been a couple months. That's the sad part about it. So either the PGA got to come up with the money or they got to figure out a way to coexist, because it's not pretty right now with the big name players that are deciding to go over there. and a lot more rumored who are willing to go over there because they see the bag, they see the bread. It's just that the old timers are not. You know how old people are. They how it was when I was a kid. That's how it has to be forever. They're not going to buy into this shit, but the money is going to drive a lot of the attention towards this LIV thing, and we'll see if they get TV time and all that stuff. But it's big stuff going on in the golf world, outside of the Deshaun Watson stuff and the Daniel Snyder stuff in the NFL and Roger Goodell going to court and all this crazy stuff. But I mean, sports is getting crazy. We're about to be done with the Stanley Cup soon, and we're going to be dealing with just 162 games of baseball. But with all the other stories going on, it's still going to be a very interesting summer for sure.
For sure, man. Sports never dies, man.
Never
I appreciate
dies.
it. Never dies. Always gives us something to talk about. But appreciate y'all listening to us wrapping up season 3. I thought it was 2, but it is 3. So season 3, we've been on episode 70. Just go down the rundown. You can find us on Twitter at fair_weather_pod, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just search the Fair Weather Podcast, and wherever you subscribe and listen to podcasts, you can find us there by searching the Fair Weather Podcast for the audio. Words of insight, man. Bolts. Make it happen. Let's do the 3P. That's a very hard thing to do, but let's make it happen. That's all I got.
Right. I mean, I'm on that same wave. Like right now, for the city of Tampa Bay to have a team like the Lightning that I actually like, if they're able to get this 3P, that's a really big deal. It hasn't happened since Kobe and Shaq in 01 and 2001, 2002, whatever, and it hasn't happened in hockey since the 80s. So if that's able to happen in the city of Tampa, it's about to be a party, and I'm going to be on the boat, and I'm going to get drunk, and I'm going to drink like a pirate. It's going to be Gasparilla in July or June or whatever. All right, man, that's all. Everybody, peace, love, and happiness.